Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. This is Lynn, Psychic Medium. I really appreciate you tuning in today to this video. You guys have sent me some questions that I'm going to endeavor to answer some of them. I am going to do an entire video on the economy. It's very complicated. It is not an easy answer. There are answers, but they're not something I can do in 5 minutes because everybody is going to be affected differently depending on where you are on the strata of, the marketplace or whatever you want to call it. But I want to say, first of all, that I got the Confetti Cannon ready. If you haven't watched the other video, I am going to shoot this off in my office and hopefully not blow a hole in the roof because this thing shoots 25 feet in the air. So it should be interesting. But I'm going to blow this off when Mitch McConnell steps down. Mitch McConnell, step down. Do you hear me? Step down. Remove yourself. Anyway, sorry. I got two because I might get excited. I might get excited. Well, first of all, if this doesn't work, with Mitch McConnell, you always have to have a backup because that man he's something else, you guys. But anyway, if that works and then I get excited because, say, Trump gets arrested, there's so many things to be excited about here. So many things. Cruz goes down. Getz goes down. There's so many. There's so many. So I have another one. So now we wait. We wait. So, okay, I want to talk about a few of these questions. I cannot get to them all, and some of them are complicated. Again, I can't, they're just not yes or no. I have to explain the reasoning, and it's a bigger video, but I did get your questions. I love your questions. Keep sending them, and I will, attempt to get to them. This is a really interesting question that just came in from Kathy. And it's interesting because I've experienced it, and I think most of us have, and I think the answer is surprising. It's a very difficult situation. Her question is, what is the spiritual lesson of betrayal for the betrayed? Right? What is the spiritual lesson of betrayal for the betrayed? So I've been betrayed. I'm sure you guys have been betrayed. It could have been anybody, right? Your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, job, partner, boss, kids. I mean, it's a theme, right? I mean, go read Shakespeare. Start with Shakespeare and then go forward. So the reason this is really good because I struggled with this. I had my own business for 25 years. I had an employee steal a lot of money from me. And I trust, I'm a trust person, basically, especially then. I wasn't connected to my spidey senses, as I call them. As if you're new to this channel, I receive information from my guides, my spirit guides, as I'm doing the video. I love tarot, but it's just not exactly my thing, because it's a long story. Anyway, but even though I could see ghosts from when I was a small child, I never connected with my psychic abilities, ever. You can have an amazing ability and never discover it. Like, for instance, don't you always wonder how many Chopins or how many Beethovens or how many Jackson Pollocks or how many, really amazing sports people, how many, amazing, gifted, talented people that are living their lives, never discovering their potential, or maybe they know they have this potential, but the universe, they're just they're blocked, right? Hollywood is a very hard place to get into, right? So anyway, you could have this and it could be blocked. So that's one thing for you to note. The second thing, we're talking about betrayal. What is the lesson? What was my lesson? What was my lesson when this employee stole this money from me? First of all, I discovered it. Second of all, I went to my accountant and I asked them to do a deep dive into my books. And his response after looking into things was, you don't want to know. Literally told me, you don't want to know. And I said, yeah, I do want to know. I do. And he said, you don't, because it's going to cost you a lot of money to find out, because it's going to cost me a lot of money to go through your books, because the way she did it was not just, it wasn't in my books, right? I mean, that's why it disappeared, because it was cash that she was taking in, and then she was fudging the invoices, but doing it in a way that was handwritten. So none of this was recorded on a computer. It was, you know, 20 years ago, right? So it was back when things were more handwritten, although all my invoicing was on the computer. She managed to just do this, right? So, it's a long story, but of course I fired her and I had to do a couple of things. First of all, I had to forgive myself, right? So what's the lesson? The lesson is to forgive yourself for being a dumbass or forgive yourself for, just being human. Forgive yourself for trusting. Forgive yourself, right? That is the number one lesson. Forgive yourself. Second lesson is to be able to trust again. So this is a big thing. This actually could, okay, let's say that you had, and I had this too, right? Where I was in a relationship for 20 years, find out they were cheating, and I had to go through the whole betrayal thing again 10 years after the employee took my money. So obviously I really needed to learn this lesson in my life. Actually, I'll give you there's a third example, but I can't share it actually because it's very much in my family, my, brothers and sisters, whatever. Although they have no idea about this channel, you never know. So this betrayal thing is played out in my life several times, right? And so every time I've had to what? Forgive myself. I have to. You have to forgive yourself. If you hold yourself accountable to the point that you denigrate yourself, then you're not going to grow from it. Nothing can grow when something is standing on it. If you're standing on yourself, if you're hitting yourself over the head with a hammer, think about a seedling, maybe it chose the wrong place to grow. It's growing on the concrete, but it's growing. You know what I mean? If you step on it, it's going to stop growing. So, you have to allow the growth. You may transplant yourself later, but you have to allow the growth. Okay. So you have to forgive yourself. And then you want to know what? You have to forgive them. You have to forgive them because hating them doesn't hurt them. They have no idea you hate them. They have no idea you're mad at them. They have no idea that they did anything wrong. They don't care. They're criminals, or they're cheaters. They don't care. Let their karma be their punishment. Let their karma be their own, justice. So I had to learn to forgive myself, and I had to learn to forgive that person. Third thing, I had to learn to discern, right? To discern. So I can trust, I can keep my heart open, and I can let people in, but I can also be awake, right? And be aware that something may be happening and then take action, right? So I think the problem here is those of us that have this contract in our lives to be betrayed, what we do is we block, right? We're like, we don't want to see. Right? And then that's why the betrayal happens. That's why the cheating happens, because we block that. And our lesson here is to take the blinders off and be aware. Acknowledge. Okay. Yes, looking back on it, hindsight's 2020, but looking back on it, I can see where things were happening in all of those situations, but I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe that they were happening. Now, so my lesson here is from this day forward, to be open, to keep my eyes open, to recognize that doesn't look right. That behavior doesn't look right. Ask about the behavior. Be open, be forward, stand up for yourself. Ask about the behavior. If you don't get a good enough answer, then you need clarification. If you still don't get clarification or a good answer, then you have to make a choice. You have to take a step. You have to take action. What is your action? Are you going to maybe remove that employee from the ability to, interact with customers? right? Are you going to maybe even take that employee off your schedule for a month and see, or 3 weeks, or even 3 days, and see what happens, right? Watch, pay attention, wake up. Don't do this. That's gonna keep your lesson coming at you, right? So how would I say, first of all, I'm much more connected to my guides now. So I am an empath, and I'm much more able to sense when somebody doesn't have my highest good in their heart. That doesn't mean that I'm never going to be taken advantage of. But what it means is, once I get the information that this person has crossed a line, then I deal with it, right? You're always going to have people that let you down. You're always going to have people that maybe just don't have your highest good in their heart. That's just human nature. How you prevent it going forward is you stop the action. You take steps to stop that person. You know, if you, I'm telling you, they're just telling me it all comes down to trusting yourself, loving yourself. Look, if you love yourself, if you take care of yourself, if you honor yourself, if you put yourself first, then that's not likely going to happen to you, because your energy doesn't match their energy. Your vibration doesn't match their vibration. So what are we going to do? We're going to forgive ourselves. We're going to forgive them. Then we're going to raise our vibration so that we're not attracting those people anymore. How do you raise your vibration? You take care of yourself. Why do you put yourself first? Because you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you have a family of 6 kids, you still need to put yourself first, because you can't take care of those 6 kids if you're flat out on the floor sick. Truth, right? So that's something we're all being asked to do right now. We're all being asked to raise our vibration. We're all being asked to take care of ourselves, because we are going to have to take care of others pretty soon. I've talked about this many, many times. The reason we incarnated on this earth is to help these people when they wake up, which goes all the way back to betrayal, does it not? Have we not been betrayed by these people? Didn't these people basically help, C-19, the pandemic, proliferate? They did. These same people. We've got to forgive them. We got to forgive ourselves for letting them do it, or whatever it is that you want to hold yourself accountable for. You have to forgive yourself. And then you need to take care of yourself and raise your vibration, so that when these people wake up, when they hit the bottom, that I've talked about in many videos, when they hit the bottom and they come to you and they're crushed because, they've lost their job, or they've lost their house, or they've lost their standing in a community, or their professional standing, or whatever it is, or maybe they're just sad that they really got taken advantage of and they were betrayed by Donald Trump, by the Russians. We then have to forgive them in turn. So hopefully that makes sense about betrayal. I'm basically channeling this message as I get it. So I can't think back about what I've told you and what I haven't told you, because it's a one-way street. So if I repeat things, it's for emphasis. If I ever repeat things in videos, it's because the guides feel like it needs emphasis. So hopefully this has been helpful. The question was amazing, because me personally, I've just experienced betrayal quite a bit. And it's given me clarity too about how to rise above that vibration, right? I think the last thing, I think people would be saying, well, I didn't ask to be betrayed. But I think what the guides are saying is that you didn't ask for it, but you let it happen because you probably, looking back on it, you saw signs. Looking back on these situations, we all see signs. That's why they say hindsight's 2020. Well, what they're telling you is be present in your life. So if you're seeing signs right now, watching this video, and you start thinking, well, I do have some questions. You know, things aren't adding up with this person, be it a family member or a spouse or an employee or a friend. If you have questions, I think you could trust them. So I think you need to go get clarification. If you can't get clarification to the degree that makes you feel better, then maybe you need to take action, right? That's where we stop, right? That's where we stop. Because look, oh, I've been married for 20 years. I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to change my whole life. I don't want to have to start over again. I'm too old. All these excuses. That's fine. We all have free will. But that's why we end up getting betrayed over and over again, because we don't learn our lessons. So maybe we get out of that situation and we think, I'm never going to do that again. Well, let me tell you another pro tip from Don't Follow Susan, Don't Be Like Susan, which is whenever you say, I'll never do this again, I never want this to happen, I would die if this happened, any of those very strong statements, that's your guides are up there with their notepad going, oh, here's a good lesson for Susan. She said she would never do this. Let's see what she does. So try not to use those, I can't think of the word they're using. Try not to use those statements. I don't know. The word came and went because it means that you have a lesson around that. So you can say, I don't need to experience that, or I feel like if I experience that, it would be very hard for me, and I hope I don't, but I'm pretty sure I have the skills, right? Or, you know, just don't say anything aloud. Don't speak aloud these things to the universe, because words have energy and they go out there and they stay. They don't go away. They're not biodegradable. So be careful. If you're going to say something like that, like I am never going to be betrayed again. If you're going to think that, you're going to say that, then stop yourself before you say it and really think about that, because that means you have a lesson around it. So go ahead and try and figure the lesson out before they actually put it in your life for you to learn. So anytime you want to say a statement like that, I will never, just stop and think, well, you know what? A lot of people I know have experienced that, and have empathy for them, and then say, gosh, what would I do if that thing happened to me? I don't want to think about it, but, you know, nothing's guaranteed, and, you know, maybe that could happen for me, and work through the lesson before you actually have to experience it, right? How do you work through it? Then you just say, gosh, I'd be sad, I would be devastated, it'd be really hard for me, but I guess I would go on and live, or I guess I would go on and get through it. I don't know how, but I know that I'm strong, and I know that I've been through things before, and I know that I can do this. So I guess I would just get through it. You know, I mean, I don't want to experience that, but I guess I would get through it. Okay. Now you're telling your guides that you've addressed the possibility of this really bad thing happening, and that you've worked through some things in your head, and you've also let yourself know that you would survive and get through it. So you see the difference between I will never do this and what I said before. Very different vibration, right? Think about the vibration of those sentences. I will never do this before. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. Don't challenge the universe. Okay. So it's better to just try to think about it before you say it, and then think, oh gosh, that would be really hard. You know what I mean? Work through it like that. So hopefully this was helpful about betrayal, and about, you know, dealing with those kinds of things. I do these videos to help you guys, to help me. We're all in this together. So believe me, I learn and grow from doing these videos, because, you know, I get to have the chance to, just like I just said, like I have a chance now to revisit that, think about it, and how would I do differently, and what have I done, and have I done enough, right? Have I done enough to raise my vibration above that of betrayal, right? So that's really awesome. So thanks, guys. Keep sending in the messages. I've got some collaborations coming up that I'll keep you apprised of. That's going to be really fun. And I will be back soon with I'm going to really do a video on the economy. Honestly, it's just going to, and it'll also have the real estate thing. Somebody asked about real estate. It'll also include the real estate thing. It's not bad. It's complicated. It's complicated. So it's not like it's a big, huge, terrible, terrible thing that's going to happen, but it really is going to affect different people in different ways. So it needs to be a video all by itself. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll chat soon.